22 days remained when the alien fleets began their final approach. Bora sat in the intelligence monitoring station on Earth's moon, watching her screens with growing worry. The numbers were frightening even by the most hopeful human estimates. "Admiral," she reported to Sora through the secure communication channel, "long-range sensors confirm movement from all 12 alien battle groups. Total ship count is now over 11,000 vessels moving toward our territory." Sora's face appeared on the screen, looking calm despite the terrible news. "Any changes in their attack pattern?" "They are spreading out to hit multiple targets at the same time. It looks like they plan to attack our outer colonies first, then move toward Earth. They want to make us watch our people die before they finish us off." In the hidden shipyards scattered throughout the solar system, Jawook worked day and night to complete the final preparations. The ancient human ships were massive beyond belief. Some stretched over 5 kilometers from front to back. Their hulls seemed to glow with energy patterns that moved and shifted like living things. Minho stood on the bridge of one of the smaller vessels, though it was still twice the size of the largest alien warship. He was only 28 years old, but something about him had made the ancient computer systems choose him specifically to command this ship. He did not understand why, but he trusted the decision. "What is our status?" he asked his crew. "All systems are coming online, Captain," his engineering officer replied. "The ancient intelligence is fully awake and responding to our commands." Minho felt something strange happening in his mind, like someone was gently touching his thoughts. The ancient ship's computer was more than just a machine. It contained the actual mind of a human who had lived 50,000 years ago, preserved in ways that modern science barely understood. "Welcome, young descendant," a voice said inside his head. It was warm but very old, carrying the weight of thousands of years. "I am Captain Wu Jin of the exploration vessel Eternal Wanderer. I have been sleeping for a very long time. How should I speak to you?" Minho asked silently. "We share the same mind now," the ancient captain replied. "Call me whatever feels right. What matters is that our enemies are about to learn why the galaxy once feared the mention of human warships." Similar conversations were happening on hundreds of ships throughout the hidden fleet. Ancient human minds were waking up and joining with modern human crews, sharing knowledge and memories across the vast gulf of time. Yu Jin worked frantically in the main control center, managing the quantum systems that kept the entire fleet hidden from enemy sensors. The technology was so advanced that even she could barely understand how it worked. The ships existed partially outside normal space, invisible to any known detection method, until they chose to reveal themselves. "How much longer can we stay hidden?" Sora asked during one of their regular briefings. "As long as we need to," Yu Jin answered. The ancient humans built these concealment systems to hide entire civilizations. Hiding a few thousand ships is easy compared to what this technology was originally designed for. Yunji burst into the meeting with urgent news. "Admiral, we have intercepted alien military communications. They are not planning to wait the full 30 days. The attack begins in less than 18 hours. Sora nodded with grim determination. "Then it is time. Send the activation signal to all ship commanders. Operation Homecoming begins now." Around Jupiter, the first hidden construction facility began to reveal its true nature. For over a decade, it had appeared to be a simple mining operation. Now massive doors opened in what had seemed to be ordinary asteroids, revealing shipyards large enough to service vessels the size of small cities. Dongsu reviewed the battle plans one final time with his strategic planning team. The aliens expected to face a desperate human fleet trying to protect their home planet. Instead, they were about to meet the return of the galaxy's most advanced military force. "The irony is perfect," he said to his assistants. "They are attacking us for expanding too quickly into territory they think belongs to them. They have no idea we are simply taking back our own ancient colonies." Meanwhile, Taiman continued his hopeless diplomatic negotiations with increasingly hostile alien representatives. He knew it was pointless, but every hour he could delay gave the fleet more time to prepare for the coming battle. Surely there must be some way to avoid this conflict, he pleaded, with the Vorthak commander during their final communication. "Humanity has no desire for war with anyone." "Your desires mean nothing," the alien growled back. "Your species is a cancer that must be cut out of the galaxy. Our fleets are already moving into attack positions. Surrender now and we might allow some humans to survive as workers for the superior races." Taemin felt cold anger rising in his chest. but he kept his voice polite and diplomatic. "I will pass your generous offer to my government for consideration." What the alien did not know was that Taemin wore a special communication device that allowed the ancient ship intelligences to listen to every word of the conversation. The minds of 50,000-year-old human warriors were hearing these threats against their descendants. The reaction from the ancient minds was immediate and furious. Throughout the hidden fleet, weapon systems that had slept for millennia began charging to full power for the first time in ages beyond counting. Minho felt his ancient partner's rage like a physical force pressing against his thoughts. "They dare offer our children slavery?" the ancient captain said with barely controlled fury. "Some things never change across time. There are always bullies who mistake kindness for weakness." "What should we do?" Minho asked. "We remind them why humans once ruled the stars," came the reply, "and why we will rule them again before this day is over." The countdown to battle had suddenly become much shorter. In less than 18 hours, alien fleets would attack expecting to find weak human defenses and outdated technology. Instead, they would face the return of humanity's ancient empire, backed by weapons that could bend reality itself to their will. Bora watched the final alien fleet movements on her monitoring screens. "All enemy forces are now in their attack positions," she reported to headquarters. "They will reach our outer colonies in 16 hours. Sora stood in the command center, surrounded by displays showing both the approaching alien armada and the hidden positions of humanity's true fleet. After 20 years of secret preparation, the moment of truth had finally arrived. "Send the final activation code to all vessels," she ordered. "It is time to show these aliens what humans are really capable of when we stop hiding." Throughout the solar system and beyond, ancient human warships began emerging from their concealment. The galaxy was about to witness the return of its original masters, and the current civilizations had no idea what was coming for them. 6 months after the Great Battle, the galaxy had become a completely different place. Taemin, now carrying the title of High Negotiator for the restored human empire, walked through the halls that had once been the Galactic Council building. The same aliens who had threatened humanity with total destruction now waited nervously in line for meetings with human representatives. The change had happened quickly and mostly without violence. When the galaxy's major civilizations realized that their combined military power had been completely wiped out by humanity in a single day, most chose cooperation over further fighting. The few species that had tried to resist found their homeworlds surrounded by ancient human ships that could destroy entire planets with one shot. Sora, now Supreme Admiral of the Recovery Fleet, reviewed daily reports from across human space. The ancient star maps had been exactly right down to the smallest details. World after world that had been claimed by alien species for thousands of years were revealed to be former human colonies, complete with automated systems that activated when human ships came near. "What is the status report from the Paradise Valley system?" she asked her assistant. "The Kalari government has officially requested to become a protected territory under human rule," came the reply. "They are offering full cooperation in exchange for human protection and access to our advanced technology." This was happening everywhere across the galaxy. Species that had once looked down on humanity as primitive newcomers were now begging for human help and guidance. The ancient technology that had been used to destroy their fleets was now being offered to help rebuild their civilizations under human leadership. Dr. Hyun-woo led the archaeological teams that were exploring newly recovered human worlds. Each planet told the same amazing story. Advanced human civilizations that had thrived for thousands of years before being mysteriously abandoned. But they had not truly been abandoned. They had been waiting for their creators to return. On a world that had once been called New Geneva but was now known as Vorthak Prime, Hyun-woo stood in the ruins of a 50,000-year-old human city. As his team got closer, ancient systems began turning on automatically. Streetlights that had been dark for thousands of centuries began glowing softly. Buildings that had stood empty since before recorded history started running their air and heating systems again. "It is like they are welcoming us home," one of his team members said with wonder in her voice. Hyun-woo nodded with emotion. The ancient humans did not just leave behind technology. They left behind a living civilization that was waiting for their children to come back. Mi Young had become the chief translator for humanity's growing diplomatic service. Her job now was not just understanding ancient human languages, but helping modern alien species learn to live in their new place in the galactic order. Most were surprisingly eager to cooperate. "The Harch delegate is here for his scheduled appointment," her assistant announced. Mi-young smiled and turned on the translation systems. The insect-like alien who had once threatened humanity with elimination now entered her office with obvious nervousness and respect. "Honored translator," the Harch said through the translation device, "my people wish to formally apologize for our previous hostile actions. We did not understand humanity's true place in galactic history." "Your apology is accepted," Mi-young replied diplomatically. "What can humanity do for the Harch people today?" "We humbly request human assistance in upgrading our medical facilities. Our population is suffering from a disease that our science cannot cure. We have heard that human medical technology might be able to help save our people." This was typical of the requests humanity received every single day. The ancient human technology was so advanced that it seemed like magic to other species. Medical problems that had killed alien populations for centuries could be solved with devices the ancient humans had considered basic everyday equipment. Eugen supervised the careful release of human technology to deserving alien species. It was a delicate balance. Too much too quickly would completely destabilize entire civilizations. Too little would leave suffering that humans could easily prevent with their advanced knowledge. "How are the Kalari adapting to the new agricultural systems?" she asked her technical team. "Extremely well," came the report. "Food production on their worlds has increased by over 400% since we introduced ancient human farming techniques. Their population is already showing greatly improved health and longer lifespans." This was part of humanity's new role as galactic guardians. The ancient humans had possessed not just superior weapons but superior everything. Their science, their medicine, their understanding of life itself was thousands of years ahead of current galactic civilization. Jawook now commanded a fleet of exploration vessels that were mapping the full extent of the ancient human empire. Each expedition revealed new wonders that had been waiting in the darkness. Space stations that had maintained themselves for 50,000 years, automated shipyards that could build entire fleets without any outside help. Planets that had been completely transformed into perfect worlds and were now ready for their human creators to return. "Sir," his navigation officer reported during their latest mission, "we are receiving a signal from outside our galaxy. It is using ancient human transmission codes." Jawook felt his heart skip a beat. "Are you absolutely certain?" "Positive, sir. The signal is weak because of the distance, but it is definitely ancient human in origin. And it was sent recently, within the last few weeks. This was the discovery that changed everything once again. The ancient humans had not just spread throughout their home galaxy, they had reached other galaxies entirely. And somewhere in the vast distances between star systems, some of them were still alive." Dongsu analyzed what this incredible discovery meant for humanity's situation. They had just reclaimed an empire spanning their entire galaxy. Now they faced the possibility that their ancient ancestors had built something even larger and more magnificent. "What does this mean for our current position?" Admiral Sora asked during their emergency meeting. "It means we are not the end of this story," Dongsu replied thoughtfully. "We are just the beginning of humanity's return to galactic leadership. Our ancestors may still be alive out there somewhere, waiting to see if their children proved worthy of their incredible legacy." Yunji had been promoted to Director of Galactic Intelligence. Her job now was monitoring communications across the entire galaxy, making sure that humanity's new position remained stable and peaceful. The report she received painted a picture of a galaxy adapting surprisingly well to human leadership. "Any signs of rebellion or organized resistance movements?" Sora asked during their weekly security briefing. "None whatsoever, Admiral. If anything, most species seem relieved by the change. The old Galactic Council was controlled by the strongest species bullying all the weaker ones. Under human leadership, every species gets protection and assistance based on what they need, rather than how powerful their military is." This was perhaps the most surprising result of humanity's revelation. Instead of becoming harsh conquerors, humans had become wise protectors. The ancient technology was being used not to dominate others, but to help every species in the galaxy reach their full potential and live better lives. Minho, now captain of his own exploration fleet, stood on the bridge of the Eternal Wanderer and looked out at the stars with contentment. The ancient artificial intelligence that shared his consciousness had become like a wise grandfather, offering guidance and sharing memories of the galaxy's golden age long ago. Are you proud of what your descendants have accomplished? Minho asked the ancient captain quietly. More than proud, came the warm reply. We left the galaxy hoping that our children would one day be strong enough to reclaim what we had built. Instead, they have become wise enough to make it even better than it was before. Bora monitored communications from across the galaxy, and the messages she read painted a picture of hope that had not existed for thousands of years. Species that had been bitter enemies for centuries were now working together peacefully under human guidance. Conflicts that had caused wars for thousands of years were being resolved through human mediation and wisdom. 1 year after the Great Battle, Tai Min stood before the reformed Galactic Council. But now, instead of being threatened with destruction, he was receiving formal requests from dozens of species asking to join the human empire as willing and eager partners. The Zeleni Republic formally requests full membership in the human empire. Their delegate announced respectfully, "We offer our complete loyalty and service in exchange for human protection, guidance, and friendship." Similar requests came from species throughout the galaxy, not because they were forced to ask, but because they had seen what human leadership could accomplish. The galaxy was becoming more peaceful, more prosperous, and more united than it had ever been in recorded history. As Taemin looked around the council chamber at representatives from hundreds of different worlds, he realized that humanity had achieved something their ancestors could never have imagined. They had not just reclaimed their ancient empire. They had created something far better, a galactic civilization based on cooperation and mutual help instead of conquest and fear. The first alien fleet arrived at humanity's outer colony of New Hope exactly when they said they would. Commander Vextar of the Vorthak Empire looked at his battle displays with satisfaction. The human colony had only a small defense station and maybe 12 patrol ships. His fleet of 800 warships would crush them in minutes. "Begin the attack," he ordered his crew. "Show these humans what happens when they refuse to obey their superiors." The Vorthak ships moved into their attack formation and opened fire. Bright plasma beams and thousands of missiles streaked toward the human defense station. But something impossible happened. Instead of hitting their targets, the weapons simply vanished into empty space as if they had never been fired at all. "What is happening?" Vextar demanded from his bridge crew. "Where did our weapons go?" "Sir, our computers show the weapons hitting the target, but there is no damage to the human station. This should not be possible." Before Vextar could ask more questions, space itself began to change around his fleet. What had looked like empty vacuum suddenly filled with enormous shapes appearing from nowhere. Ships larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen materialized around the alien fleet, like hunters surrounding helpless prey. On the bridge of the ancient human ship Eternal Wanderer, Minho felt the vessel's artificial intelligence merge completely with his own mind. 50,000 years of battle knowledge flowed through his thoughts as if they were his own memories from childhood. "Target their command ships first," the ancient captain's voice whispered in his head. "Leave some alive to carry news of what they have seen back to their leaders." Minho nodded and spoke to his weapons officer. "You may fire when ready." The Eternal Wanderer's main weapon was unlike anything in the modern galaxy. It did not shoot energy beams or missiles. Instead, it reached across space and simply removed pieces of enemy ships from existence. One moment there were 8 Vorthak command ships leading the attack. The next moment there were only scattered pieces of metal floating in the darkness. The other ancient human ships opened fire at the same time. Weapons that had been designed to fight wars between entire star systems unleashed their power on the primitive alien fleet. Ships that had taken years to build were destroyed in seconds. Commander Vextar watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart around him. "Retreat!" he screamed into his communicator. "All ships retreat immediately!" But the human ships had surrounded them completely. Yujin's dimensional barriers prevented any escape, trapping the alien fleet in a pocket of space that existed outside normal reality. "This cannot be real," Vextar whispered to himself. "Humans are supposed to be a young species. They do not have this kind of technology." His answer came when Minho's face appeared on the alien commander's communication screen, but there was something different about the young human's eyes. They held the wisdom and coldness of someone who had fought wars across the galaxy for thousands of years. "Young species?" Minho asked. though his voice carried strange harmonics that suggested multiple people speaking as one. "We were traveling between the stars before your ancestors learned to make fire. This galaxy belongs to humanity, and we are simply taking back what was always ours." Similar battles were happening at every human colony the aliens had planned to attack. At each location, alien fleets found themselves facing impossible technology, ships that could appear and disappear at will, weapons that ignored all known laws of physics, defense systems that made human installations completely untouchable. Admiral Sora watched the battle reports from her command center with grim satisfaction. The ancient human artificial intelligences were working together with perfect coordination, sharing information instantly across vast distances. It was like watching a single mind control thousands of bodies at the same time. "What are our losses?" she asked Bora. "Zero human casualties," Bora replied, still staring at her displays in amazement. "The aliens cannot even scratch our ships. Their weapons are completely useless against ancient human technology." At the diplomatic station, Taemin was still in meetings when the attacks began. The alien representatives had been smug and confident until their fleet started sending panicked messages for help over the communication channels. "What is happening out there?" the Kalari delegate demanded. "Our sensors are showing readings that make no sense." Taemin smiled coldly. "You demanded to see humanity's true military strength. Consider your request granted." The alien delegates tried desperately to contact their fleets, but most of them were already gone. The few ships that survived the first attacks were sending back reports that sounded like madness. Human ships appearing from thin air, weapons that seemed more like magic than science, technology that was impossibly advanced. Jaewook supervised the battle from the main fleet command ship, a vessel so large that small moons could have fit inside it. The ancient systems responded to his commands as if they had been waiting 50,000 years for someone to use them properly again. "How are the artificial intelligences working with our crews?" he asked his second-in-command. "Perfect integration," came the reply. "It is like they were designed specifically to work with us. Some of our crew members are reporting that they can access memories from the original ship's crews." This was true. As the battle continued, human crew members found themselves remembering things they had never experienced personally. The taste of food from worlds that had died before Earth's history began. The faces of loved ones who had been gone for thousands of centuries. The pride of serving in humanity's first space fleet. Dongsu analyzed the overall strategic situation from his war room. The alien coalition had brought over 11,000 ships to destroy humanity. In less than 6 hours, fewer than 200 alien vessels remained, and most of those were too damaged to continue fighting. "Sir," one of his analysts reported, "the surviving alien ships are trying to surrender." "No surrender accepted," Sora's voice came over the communication system. "The ancient protocols are very clear about this. No witnesses can be allowed to escape with knowledge of our true capabilities." This was the hardest part of the plan. Humanity had always tried to be merciful to defeated enemies. But the ancient artificial intelligences were firm about this rule. The galaxy could not be allowed to know the full extent of human power until humanity was ready to reveal it on their own terms. Minho felt the ancient captain's determination flowing through him as he gave the final order: destroy all remaining alien vessels. The last phase of the battle was swift and final. Ancient human weapons reached out across space and simply erased the surviving alien ships from existence. There would be no survivors to carry stories of impossible human technology back to their homeworlds. When it was over, space was filled with debris from over 11,000 alien warships. Not a single human ship had been damaged. The entire combined fleet of 12 alien species had been destroyed in less than 8 hours. Sora stood in her command center, looking at displays that showed empty space where enemy fleets had been. The ancient artificial intelligences were already going back to sleep, their task complete. But their message was clear: humanity was no longer hiding. "Open a communication channel to all alien governments in the galaxy," she ordered. When the connection was established, Sora's image was broadcast to every major civilization. Her voice was calm but carried the sound of absolute authority. "This is Admiral Sora of the human space fleet. Your unprovoked attack on human territory has been defeated completely. All attacking vessels have been destroyed. Humanity now claims all star systems that were originally settled by our ancestors 50,000 years ago. Any species currently living on these worlds may remain as our guests, provided they accept human leadership. Those who refuse will be moved to other suitable planets. The galaxy fell silent as the meaning became clear. Humanity was not asking for new territory. They were taking back an ancient empire that was older than every known civilization. The massive council chamber fell silent as Taemin walked across the polished floor. His footsteps echoed in the huge space, making him feel very small. Around him, representatives from 12 different alien species watched him with cold, angry eyes. The air felt thick and heavy, like a storm was coming. Taemin had been Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council for 5 years. He had attended hundreds of meetings in this same chamber. But today was different. Today the aliens looked ready for war. The Vorthak commander stood up first. He was 8 feet tall with gray skin that looked like stone. His voice was deep and rough like rocks grinding together. "Ambassador Taemin of Earth," he said slowly. "Your people have gone too far." Taemin kept his face calm, but his heart was beating fast. He had been trained for moments like this, but it still felt scary. "Honored members of the council," he replied carefully. "What concerns you today?" The Kalari representative stepped forward. She was tall and thin with blue skin that seemed to glow slightly. In the past 50 years, humans have claimed over 200 star systems. You build colonies faster than any species we have ever seen. This is not natural. Other aliens around the chamber made agreeing sounds. Some clicked their mandibles. Others growled low in their throats. All of them sounded angry and suspicious. Taemin looked around the room at all the hostile faces. "Honored Council, humanity has followed all galactic laws. We have not taken any claimed territories. We have not attacked any other species. Our expansion has been peaceful and legal." "Legal, perhaps," said the harsh delegate, an insect-like being with 6 arms. "But impossible. Young species do not spread this quickly. You must have stolen advanced technology from someone." The Vorthak commander moved closer to Taemin. His heavy boots made loud sounds on the floor. "We know you are hiding something, human. Your ships are too fast. Your colonies are too advanced. Your military grows too quickly for a species that only learned space travel 200 years ago." Taemin felt sweat on his forehead, but he kept his voice steady. "I understand your concerns. Perhaps we can arrange some kind of cultural exchange program to show you how we—" Silence. The Vorthak's roar filled the chamber. "This is not a negotiation. This is a warning." Behind the alien representatives, a huge screen came to life. It showed pictures of human colonies scattered across the galaxy. Red targeting symbols appeared over each one. Taemin's blood turned cold as he realized what he was seeing. "You have 30 standard days," the Vorthak announced. "Open all your military facilities to our inspectors. Show us every ship, every weapon, every piece of technology you possess. Let us examine everything, and if we refuse," Taemin asked quietly. The Kalari smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "Then the combined fleets of 12 species will remove the human problem from this galaxy. Permanently." The chamber erupted in sounds of agreement. Clicking, growling, and chittering filled the air as the aliens showed their support for war against humanity. Taemin stood alone in the center of it all, feeling like a mouse surrounded by hungry cats. "Surely we can find a peaceful solution," he tried again. "Humanity has been a good member of the galactic community. We trade fairly. We help other species when they need aid. We have never threatened anyone." "Your existence is a threat," said another alien one Taemin didn't recognize. "Species that expand too quickly always become dangerous. We learned this lesson long ago." The Vorthak commander activated a control device. The screen changed to show massive alien warships gathering in space. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands, all pointed toward human space. "Our fleets are already moving into position," the commander said. 30 days to comply, or 30 days until we destroy every human settlement in the galaxy. Choose wisely." Taemin knew the meeting was over. There was no point in arguing anymore. The aliens had already decided to attack humanity. The only question was whether they would have an excuse or not. "I will carry your message to my government immediately," he said with as much dignity as he could manage. "See that you do," the Vorthak growled. "And human, do not think you can run or hide. We have mapped every human world. There is nowhere in this galaxy you can escape to." Taemin walked out of the chamber with slow, steady steps. Inside, he was terrified, but he would not let the aliens see his fear. Only when he reached his transport ship did he allow himself to breathe normally again. His communication officer, Yoonji, was waiting for him. She was young but very smart, and Taemin trusted her completely. "How bad is it?" she asked as soon as he came aboard. "As bad as it can be," Taemin replied. "They're going to attack no matter what we do. 30 days from today." Yoonji's face went pale, but she nodded and activated the quantum communicator. "Priority message to Earth Command," she said into the device. "Admiral Sora is standing by." The main screen flickered to life, showing Admiral Sora in her command center. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, but her eyes were sharp and determined. Behind her, Taemin could see other officers working at their stations, all looking very busy and serious. "Taemin," Sora said without wasting time on greetings. "What's the situation?" "They've given us 30 days to open all military facilities for inspection, or they'll attack with everything they have. 12 species, probably 10,000 ships or more." Sora was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then she nodded slowly. "We expected this might happen eventually. How much time do we really have?" 30 days officially. But they're already moving their fleets into position. I think they plan to attack whether we agree to inspection or not. "That gives us enough time," Sora said. Her voice was calm, almost casual. "Continue your diplomatic efforts for now. Make them think we're considering their demands. Buy us every hour you can." "Admiral," Taemin said carefully, "our official fleet has maybe 200 ships. They're bringing 10,000. What are you planning to do?" Sora smiled, and for just a moment she looked sad rather than confident. "Something we hoped we would never have to use." "But Taemin, humanity has survived worse than this before. Much worse." Before Taemin could ask what she meant, the transmission ended. He stared at the blank screen, feeling confused and worried. Sora had not seemed scared at all. If anything, she had seemed sorry for their enemies. A warning signal interrupted his thoughts. 3 alien warships had moved to surround his transport. They were not attacking, but the message was clear. Humanity was already being watched very carefully. Taemin looked out through the ship's windows at the stars. Somewhere out there, 10,000 alien ships were preparing to destroy every human in the galaxy. Earth's official fleet was tiny compared to that force. On paper, it looked like the most one-sided war in galactic history, but Admiral Sora's confidence bothered him. She had not seemed worried about facing impossible odds. Instead, she had seemed regretful, as if she was sorry for what was going to happen to the aliens. Taemin shook his head and began writing his next diplomatic message. Whatever Sora was planning, his job was to give her as much time as possible. He just hoped that 30 days would be enough for whatever miracle she had in mind. The countdown to humanity's judgment had begun. Admiral Sora walked through corridors that did not exist on any official map of Earth Command. The elevator had gone down much deeper than most people knew was possible, past levels that were marked as storage or maintenance. Finally, she reached the bottom floor, a place that only 12 people in the entire human government knew about. The heavy door opened with a soft hiss, and Sora stepped into a room filled with holographic displays. The walls showed star maps that looked very old, with symbols and markings that seemed strange but somehow familiar. Dr. Hyunwoo was already waiting for her, along with the other members of humanity's most secret team. "Show them everything," Sora said quietly. The lights dimmed, and the displays came alive with colors and movement. Hyunwoo stepped forward, his face serious and tired. He was the man who had discovered humanity's greatest secret 23 years ago, and carrying that knowledge had aged him more than it should have. 23 years ago, Hyunwoo began, our deep space exploration ship was checking unusual energy readings near the Tau Ceti star system. We thought we might find some kind of alien technology. What we found changed everything we believed about human history. The main display showed pictures of something floating in the darkness of space. It looked like a huge city, but it was clearly very old and badly damaged. Strange writing covered its surface, writing that looked almost like something humans might have made, but not quite. At first we assumed it was another dead alien civilization, Hyunwoo continued. The galaxy is full of them. But when Dr. Mi Young finished translating the symbols, we discovered the impossible truth. This was human, built by our own people 50,000 years ago. Mi Young stepped closer to the group. She was younger than Hyunwoo, but looked just as tired from carrying such a heavy secret. The ancient humans were not the primitive cave dwellers our history books describe. They had achieved space travel before the last ice age. They had built an empire across hundreds of star systems. New images appeared on the screens around them. Ships that were enormous compared to anything in the modern galaxy. Cities that floated in space between stars. Technology that looked like magic even to people who understood modern science. But something happened about 48,000 years ago. Mi-young continued. They began abandoning their colonies. Not because of war or disaster, but as part of some kind of planned evacuation. They left messages for anyone who might come after them. The displays changed to show ancient writing, translated into modern language. Sora read the words out loud for everyone to hear. To our children who will one day find us, we leave you the tools to reclaim what was always yours. The galaxy belongs to humanity, but you must prove yourselves worthy of this inheritance. Jae-wook, the chief engineer of their secret project, activated another set of controls. They did not just leave messages. They left complete instructions, detailed plans for building ships and weapons far more advanced than anything the current galaxy possesses. Yu Jin, their quantum physicist, pointed to technical diagrams that filled the air around them. Their basic patrol ships were larger than the biggest alien battleships we know about. Their weapons could destroy entire planets from the other side of a solar system. Their defense systems could make whole fleets invisible to any sensor we have ever seen. Dong-su, the military expert who understood what all this meant for human strategy, asked the obvious question. How advanced were they really? Imagine if we took our most modern warship, Yujin explained, and sent it back in time to fight sailing ships with cannons. That is the difference between ancient human technology and what the aliens have today. Sora gestured toward another wall of displays. For 20 years, we have been secretly building ships based on these ancient plans. Not exact copies, but improved versions. We took their designs and made them even better using modern knowledge. The images showed construction sites hidden throughout the solar system, shipyards built inside asteroids, manufacturing plants in the empty spaces between planets, facilities that had been disguised as mining operations or research stations, but were really building humanity's true fleet. How many ships? Dong-su asked. Over 3,000, Jae-wook answered, each one capable of destroying entire alien fleets by itself. We have been preparing for this day since we first realized the other species would eventually see us as a threat. Hyun-woo activated another display that made everyone in the room go quiet. It showed a map of the galaxy, but not the modern version they all knew. This map was covered with thousands of red dots, each one marking a location. The ancient humans left us more than ship designs, Hyun-woo explained. They left us star charts showing where they had built colonies. Most of the worlds that alien species now call home were originally human settlements. Sora studied the map carefully. The Vorthak homeworld, originally called New Geneva by human colonists 50,000 years ago, Mi-young replied. The Kalari capital system was named Paradise Valley. Even the station where the Galactic Council meets was built around a planet that served as humanity's regional government center. The room became very quiet as everyone realized what this meant. The alien species threatening to destroy humanity were living on worlds that had belonged to humans, long before their own civilizations had learned to make fire. Why did the ancient humans leave? Asked Dong-su. Yu-jin looked thoughtful as she answered. We are not completely sure. The messages suggest they were evolving beyond needing physical bodies, moving to some kind of higher level of existence. But they promised they would return if their descendants ever needed them. Return how? Sora asked. Jae-wook smiled for the first time since the meeting had begun. Every ship they designed included an artificial intelligence system. But these are not normal computers. They contain the actual consciousness of the original crews. When our new ships power up, these minds wake up again. Our ancestors will literally be fighting alongside us. Sora moved to the central control panel. How long until the fleet is ready for action? 27 days, Jae-wook reported. All major ships will be completely operational. The ancient minds are already beginning to wake up. Good, Sora said grimly, because our intelligence reports show the aliens are not planning to wait the full 30 days. They are gathering their fleets right now and will probably attack within 25 days. Yoon-ji, who had been monitoring alien communications from her station, nodded to confirm this. Their diplomatic demands were just for show. They never intended to honor any agreement. They want to wipe us out completely. Then they are about to learn a very hard lesson about human history, Sora said with determination. They think they are dealing with a weak, young species that got lucky with some stolen technology. They have no idea they are about to face the return of the galaxy's original rulers. Hyunwoo looked at the ancient star maps one more time. 50,000 years ago, our ancestors controlled the galaxy. In less than a month, their children will take back what was always ours. The meeting ended, but everyone stayed to look at the displays showing their hidden fleet. Thousands of ships more powerful than anything the galaxy had seen for 50 millennia. Ships that carried the minds and memories of humanity's ancient spacefaring civilization. The aliens had made a terrible mistake. They thought they were bullying a weak young species. Instead, they had awakened the sleeping giant of galactic history. Soon they would learn why the galaxy had once belonged to humanity, and why it would belong to them again.